Welcome back to the Healthy Business Podcast. I'm Ty King from American Business Engine. With me, as always,
It's Jessica Tolliver with Karen Collaborative.
Hey, how are you?
Good.
On the big comfy couch. I like this.
I know. I actually think it's more us because we're really in front.
It is.
And
Yeah.
this is more chill. I like it.
It was, the jacket and we had a desk and we were trying to be professionals. It turns out that's just not us,
Sometimes you have to go through that.
Yeah.
And, in business, you have to go through, do what you think you should do.
Yeah.
And see if it fits.
Sure.
And then put back that three-piece suit and get your leggings on. And if that's your thing. I mean, some people are walking around in their three-piece suits looking great, feeling great.
Yeah.
Neither one of us would look good in a three-piece suit.
I think it's nice.
You look good. Don't get me wrong, but you sit there and be uncomfortable.
Oh, yeah, it's very, it is uncomfortable. This is very comfortable. And I think even last week when we recorded, with the guest, it worked out, and it was a good vibe. Come enjoy the couch. It's a soft fun. Yeah.
And he wasn't really in love with the idea, but once he settled in, I think it's going to help take people off guard a little bit. I think it's going to actually make them more comfortable.
Right. But at first, it's this is not what I'm used to. Yeah, I like stiff environments.
Right. Stiff. And you want to know something funny? That room, even though we had the soundproofing up, had the loudest elevator of any room in this entire suite. Yeah. I didn't realize it until I took all the soundproofing down, and I was like, oh my God, this is legit sounds like I'm on a roller coaster.
So strange that it's just right there.
It's the worst elevator I could have picked. It must be, all of the elevators must have all of the things going to one side.
Yeah.
That must be the side. Because it is the loudest. And that's where you put, I guess if this were a normal office, that's where you put the guy you don't like. You suck, you're demoted, hit the loud.
I'm sitting next to the train tracks. So anyways, how's your week been?
Well, it's the holiday week.
Yes.
So in my business, I make a choice to work most of the federal holidays because a lot of my clients don't.
Yes.
And therefore I'm available to them at this time. So my personal week was fine as far as work goes, but I did learn the hard way that sitting in front of a bunch of kids like my husband and my kids, shooting off a bazillion bottle rockets creates a lot of smoke. And then you feel like you smoked a pack of cigarettes the next day and for 2 days. Oh, wow. Just now feeling like I got it, my lungs cleared out. So pro tip.
Interesting.
Don't sit that close to the wick.
Yeah, I was very far away from all the fireworks and just saw them lighting up in the sky on the bridge. And
So we went to the pretty ones. We just hid it in the back, in the front yard, side yard. They were in the driveway, and the kids were doing their little things.
I didn't see her.
Blow their hands off and dodging fire.
Avoid casualties.
Yeah.
Yeah. So July 4th week. It's kind of weird. It's it throws everything off, especially when it's on a Tuesday.
Right. Any holiday on Tuesday, but yeah.
And so that felt like Saturday to me for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
And then this whole week's just been crazy.
Seat line days.
Just
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, it's Friday now again.
It kind of feels like Tuesday.
Yeah.
Finally getting that Tuesday I wanted.
The compressor in my AC unit in my house went out 2 days ago. Yeah. And so waiting on the home insurance to
do their
thing and go through the process and put a new one in. So the last couple of days there, it's been pretty miserable.
Well, we're pretty lucky. Ours went out before the rush. Yeah. So our guys come in today, hopefully.
Very fortunate. Yeah. So we're just waiting on that part to come in and then fix that. So that'd be great.
Well, we're having another record heat. Well, actually the world is having a record heat wave, but Arkansas is also having a record heat this year again. The first year I moved here about 10 years ago, I only visited Arkansas a little bit. My husband's from here, and we moved in July, around this time. And up north, I mean, not far north, but just a little bit north, it's a lot cooler. We come in here, I get out of my vehicle, been driving with 2 kids for 400 miles, get out, it is 105. And I looked at him and said, you brought me to the 7th circle of hell. It got better.
Yeah.
Now it's getting worse.
I was just thinking, you never been South Texas in the summer?
Only through, but not ever even,
Never stopped and...
No, you get out and get gas, get back in your car and keep going.
God, it's miserable. Yeah.
I bet.
And I'm going. Yeah, the 22nd, I think, was when we're going down to Houston.
Okay.
I thought it'd be fun. That's in July. Yeah. That's what I used. Yeah, I know. I used to go to back to Tyler, Texas, where my grandparents lived when I was a kid, and so every summer my brother and I would go down there and stay with them. But like that's what I remember is like the heat of just outside is like killer. Oh man, it's such a dry heat. It's not like here because there's water everywhere. So there,
You like the humidity? Oh my god, I love the dry heat.
yeah. No, I'm saying dry heat's much better than it is here.
Okay, I thought it was I was very.
The air is thick here and it's hard to breathe.
Yes, you feel like you're breathing underwater.
Yeah.
You wake up and you're like, I'm in a fish tank.
Yeah.
Like underneath.
Yes. Yeah, for sure. Hard to get through.
Mm-hmm. No, I have family in Nevada,
Mm-hmm.
so I'll go out and visit them sometimes. And the first time I went out there, I'm like, this is nice. There's a little bit of a breeze. Wasn't too much, super high, but I was enough of a breeze to where the sweat dried really quick. And also the dry heat was just absorbing it. And I looked at the temperature and it was like 102, 103. And I was living in Kentucky at this time, over like up north where it's a little bit cooler.
Sure.
And I'm like, this is awesome. Am I
Yeah.
here?
So this week, some new things happened, and I know you usually stay off of social media, right?
Yeah, I get on to like go to Facebook Marketplace and argue with someone over on a shelf, and then
Okay.
That's-
Title them online.
I don't
Yeah.
really do that. I'm a terrible haggler, but I'm like, you want that much money for it? I'm willing to pay it. And then like, but this, no, I'm not willing to pay that.
They try to upsell you.
Sometimes, but sometimes I'll go in there like, well, I like your widget, but I really want that widget for $5 less. And I've got a hard stop. And so you either give me my $5 or I don't need your widget. And I don't haggle. I mean, there's no like, because my kids, God, they figured out haggling and we were playing some type of game and they learned to trade. And they'll be like $10, like 12, and like $2.50. And I mean, just weird. And no, I got that. I'm like, this is the value I place on your thing. And that's what I got. No, all right, see ya. And I'm like, don't call me back because it's over. And then that at the point at which you say no.
Right. Absolutely. So this week another social media platform dropped.
Yes, I heard that. It was another like, Meta put out a new Twitter. It's called Feeds or something. Threads. I knew it was.
Yes.
Yes. Did you see that on?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, of course it did. And so that's what I mean. Had to, but pure interest out of one. You know what I mean? I've always, anytime something like that came out, like I started out in Yahoo Communities back in the day, early 2000s, and then there was GeoCities where you could go, and so like that's always been fascinating to me, like how we come up with new ways that we interact with each other. And so it's not just an open communication. So there's putting people in a room, and then you expect them to talk to each other, right?
And I hope that they're nice.
There's that. So I'm talking about in the physical world.
Okay.
When you put a bunch of people into a room,
Yes.
and you say, "Hey, talk to each other."
Right. We're networking.
Yeah. There's only so many different ways that can go. But when you do it online, you're creating a format that's not just a room with people in it. Like there's rules to everything and how everything operates and the way that you can communicate with each other and the words that you can and cannot say. And so there's not complete freedom like it is whenever it's me. Yes. Yeah. So there's more anonymity. There are like rules of words that you can't use and there's also, because of the anonymity, they will cause people to do things that are controversial just because they can, and you're not going to find out who it is. And so it's an opportunity for them to be the bastardized versions of themselves, right? But there's also rules of so the way that you interact with people on Facebook. So you post, you can have a photo, you can have as much text as you'd like. I don't even know if there is a cap or a limit.
There is, but it's big.
It's probably large. But on Twitter, you only have the 70 characters that you can do. And then there's not a whole lot of long videos.
Yeah, they definitely tried to. The whole premise was the opposite of the long content.
And TikTok was just you being on video for say 30 seconds to 5 minutes or whatever. Or there's the lives. You know what I mean? So every platform has its own rules on how you communicate.
So shtick off. This is a little niche type. Hey, this is why we're different and better.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, exactly. Rather than just picking a name, but when they all do the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so Threads being the Meta's version of Twitter, they believe they can do it better. Mm-hmm. Maybe. Well, that's what they're saying. They're saying that they can do it better. Whatever that means, because that's kind of ominous and it's it's so vague that it's okay, what is it? What does that mean?
Yes. Define better.
Yeah, define better.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've jumped on and it's already taking off, but and then of course Elon Musk wants to sue over.
I know that. I listen to a podcast that's literally 10 minutes long and gives me the highlights. And that's my news. And if I just really need to know more, I have another podcast that's like 30 minutes long.
Yeah.
I can go check out some more details if I want to, but I very rarely give myself time for that.
Right.
And if I don't sometimes the podcast is 15 minutes long, and if I don't finish it by the time I get to work, I don't know what happens.
You just never come back? You're done?
This changes. You got to current.
Right.
So I'm backtracking into your story just a little bit, but I'll get back up on that. During the pandemic, there was this show released, and it was called Vision Quest. Did you watch it? It was about a video game developer.
Oh, Mythic Quest.
Mythic Quest. Okay.
Yes, I love that show.
Okay. So you remember TTD? Remember the shovel? TTD?
Yes.
Yes, I apply that in all of my adventures. I look at that and I'm like, how long TTD? So those of you who don't know what that is, there's a profane word at the end in time 2. So figure it out. Or go watch this show. It's hilarious. There's a great Rube Goldberg thing at the end. Season 1. There's a season 2, actually.
3.
Oh, is it 3?
Yeah.
I haven't seen that one. I saw 2. Okay, cool. Let's go back.
Yeah, for sure. That's one I always go back and watch over and over and over because I'm like, I love that shit.
And there was so much going on. It was so dumb, but there was a lot going on. And yes, sometimes you need a little brain candy. It is definitely that. There's nothing to take serious. But I loved it, and I love that little part at the COVID part at the end. That was really fun.
For sure.
But anyhow, so TTD and Threads.
Yes, TTD and Threads. Pretty much. So like the way we interact with social media is different because obviously I own a marketing company, so we have to do that. When we say that we are doing social media for people, it's what platform should I use? And so for like I don't know, a couple of years ago, everybody was like, well, I have to have Twitter because that's what everybody says I have to have. They say I have to have Twitter. And I'm like, well, I got to walk them through the process. I'm like, actually, so there's this demographic that uses this one uses this one uses this one, this one uses this one, this one uses this one. Yeah, exactly. Also, there's the target audience. There's also, what do you make? Is that entertaining? You know what I mean? Are you, do you make a toy, or a delicious sandwich, or are you selling insurance? Because those are very different things.
Right.
I don't walk in a shop and ask for some insurance. You know what I mean? It's like, that's something I very last ditched effort. I'm just like,
unless
because I absolutely have to do something.
Because like one of the locals, iRealty, they're pretty creative, and they'll put out a new little
sure.
ad, whatever. They did one time where they had professionals come in and they did this whole all around town thing, and they do fun things like that. That's a little real estate, not industries, but that's rare.
And they have a visual element to what they do, though, like the house showings. Like you want to see the house, you want to see the inside of what this looks like. Yeah. So, when you're selling a non-visual type of thing, except for paperwork,
here's some spreadsheets because I'm a CPA.
Yeah. Those are nice spreadsheets.
Look, I got extra tabs.
Just to get into it's American Psycho stuff. Look at those business cards; it's so thick. So now every time that they add on a new social media platform, there's been plenty of them that popped up over the past, since the pandemic hit. Mastodon was one that came out, and there's several others that tried to overtake Twitter and several other things, but they never worked out. And they didn't have a big enough team, but mostly because it would be started by one person who coded the entire thing, 100,000 lines of code, and it's buggy, and they don't have the funds to be able to hire somebody to maintain this thing.
They launched it because they're in a hurry to get out there. It's buggy. People are like, this is awful. Rather than being able to do a soft launch, get some tests out. But
when you start off, you're not Elon Musk. You're not Zuckerberg. You know what I mean? So you're just somebody living in the suburbs trying to make this thing work.
Some kid in his basement who doesn't want to wear a mask is down out doing his thing.
Yeah, for sure. And so when a company like Meta puts out a huge platform like that, that catches everybody else's attention.
Yeah, they're already 3 billion strong. So not only do they have that draw, that pool of people they can advertise to free. They don't have to go out and find new people. That's much easier for them to really take off. That's, from what I understand, that this has the best chance of all the network, all the new things to really challenge Twitter.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And so for businesses, most of our clients, you know what I mean? So they're concerned. Okay, should I get a Threads account now? And so we've been exploring it ourselves and trying to figure it out. I mean, it's infantile right now. It's a baby.
Yeah.
But those are always the best times to jump on a social, platform, because then you've got the longevity once it does pick up, if it picks up, because it's sort of investments, but it's an investment of time and energy rather than money, even though it's a free account.
Oh, your time is worth money. So if you don't,
exactly,
you're making $400 an hour. Don't spend 6 hours a day on a new platform.
Exactly.
Yeah, hire time.
Yeah, I'll spend hours of my time researching these for you, and try to figure out if that's worth it for you.
So years ago, probably about, I don't know, 6 years ago, time is weird. I did continuing education, and one of the things I wrote was a marketing class for massage therapists, to help them basically do the baby navigation, like where do I need to go, what do I need to do, the basics of what you do. But they're usually coming in one person strong with no idea what they're doing and very little income, so they can't actually afford to hire someone yet. So I wrote the class on what the different networks at the time were, how to choose, basically everything you just said, where to spend your time, how to budget that time, and maximize what little time that you have, because for us, we have to be working in order to make we can't just like put someone on autopilot and there's no machine that we can put on. Well, there is, but mostly we have to go do the work. So it was just a continuing education class to help people, the massage therapists, kind of work through a little bit of the security, I would say, safe online, things like that. But and I've had people ask for that class to come back, and I got to rewrite probably 20% of it, because there's no more Google. I mean, the whole Google, but the whole Google Google Rooms, and I don't remember what it's called, that's gone, like circles and all that kind of, so it's back in there, so that's gone. I literally have had to mark off, there was a couple of different video platforms that didn't make it, and it's like, this information is still good, but I need to take out all the references to what it was for and apply it to something different. And then,
Vine,
Vine, that was one of them, so one of the slides I had on the PowerPoint was these little icons. And the thing was can you name these platforms based on the icon? Because a lot of times on websites, you'll put those little icons and people are supposed to know what they are. Now, I mean, you can recognize what Facebook and Twitter. The rest of it is like, I don't know what that is. So it completely has to be redone. And that was literally like 6 years ago. So to your point, is that it's, someone has to do the research. Do you want to spend all of your time doing that? Do you need to get on as a business owner?
And that's what we do with our consultations. Is like we sit down with them, because they're like, we want all the socials, and I'm like, that's a waste of your time, my time, and everybody else's time, because who you're trying to reach. I was like, your time is better spent narrowing down who it is that you're trying to market to. And so somebody asked me recently, because I was trying to write an assignment for a marketing company, and it was assigned to write several different things. But anyways, wanted to know what the difference was in writing a post for Facebook and Instagram, and writing a post for LinkedIn. And I was like, well, there's different demographics, like I said, but also it's the tone, it's different, and the way that you interact with people is different. And so if you're if you sell vehicles, right? So you've got a car lot, then Facebook and Instagram will be more for talking to the customers that you want to buy your vehicles, and LinkedIn would be more for like your lenders and connecting with people that would be good connections and partners for you.
So also on a LinkedIn, if you mess up your grammar and your punctuation, that is going to affect how your post is taken. You do that same exact bad grammar, punctuation, you put that on a Facebook, people are going to forgive that. And I mean, and the same people, like the same person who will sit there and point and chide on LinkedIn will look at that same post on Facebook and not even realize it and be like, oh, that's cool. It's just because the vibe is different on each of those.
You're expected to be completely professional, and it's a blemish. It's like if you put a brochure out and it had some words misspelled, and it's like, it doesn't look good on your company.
No, Facebook would be like, oh, I'm say cool.
Like we know where we are. It's okay. So for Twitter, I don't even recommend Twitter for a whole lot of people, unless it's just your individual account. For companies, it's just if you want to be quirky, as a company, if that's what your whole brand is, and you want to put some snappy little tweets or whatever out there, that's fine. Other than that, it's not very, I don't know, business growing.
My take on Twitter, and I am not the resident expert, you are, but my take on Twitter is one of those things that it has to be live and now. So if you are the type of person who likes to share 128 character thoughts randomly throughout the day, even if you're a CEO of a multi-billion-dollar a company, that's fine. As long as you're obviously representing your brand, things like that.
Sure.
That's a great way for you to connect with people. I mean, because there's a lot of business people on Twitter, so it's not like it's just kids or anything like that. So if you are the person who's going to feed that information, great, Twitter's a great place. But if you're the type of person who wants to spend 6 hours once a month scheduling things out, Twitter's not your place. Yeah. It can that can go south in a heartbeat because it is about the temperature of the environment in the moment.
Yep. And
that temperature changes with the wind.
You have to be available, or somebody that you have running your social media has to be available for that. And if it's not going to be, I'm telling you right now, it's not going to be a marketing company. You're going to have to hire an in-house person.
Right, exactly. A marketing company is not going to be able to go, oh, look, I did a thing, and it's in the now, unless they're following you.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Like physically following you.
Yeah. And but most of the time we're working with so many different accounts at the same time that it's just impossible. We can't pay attention to what's going on right then at that moment at all times.
So like your newscasters who are all about sharing what's in their head, that's a good environment because they're
for sure
sharing their head. But if you're more of a meditator and you want to compose, Twitter's not for you.
I think it's not the spot. Yeah. Unless you're just in a specialty like poetry group or something, you know, it's some
groups do change that dynamic.
Yeah, they do.
And as a general recommendation.
Yeah. The only people I really recommend, clients is what they should be doing on Twitter is the only ones we recommend it to are the ones who are either literary associated, you know what I mean? And so if you're a library, of course, you need to have that. If you're an author, if you've got a book of any sort out, if you're a business coach, whatever, those are great. If you're a restaurant, probably useless. It's not really a good use of your time unless you're not going to reach when you're a restaurant, right? So you have a clientele you're going after, and they are in a very specific area because that's where your restaurant is located. People in Nebraska, if you're located in Little Rock, that's not your target market. Okay. So when you get on Twitter and you're tweeting out, you're going to the world.
Right.
You cannot narrow your target market. There's no way to do that. You can use hashtags of a certain area, but not everybody's following those. And very rarely do people, follow them. And like the following of hashtags has decreased, very strongly over the past few years. But
I still love them. It's like hashtags and Pluto.
Yeah.
Can't let go.
Yeah. Some people learn how to use them. Like me, they can't never let it go. So I'm like, it works in some cases. It used to work a lot better than it does now, but like the use of hashtags is seriously decreased in like the value. But anyways, Threads, I'm not really sure about yet because Meta is trying some different things. We know how successful Facebook was. Of course, usership has decreased significantly, but Instagram, with the other company they own, has increased. So everybody that left Facebook went to Instagram.
Right.
So Meta still wins. Now they're trying Threads to try to take the market away from Twitter as well. So it's just going to be a game of seeing if it works or not.
I think that the rules are still going to apply. If you're all about sharing your innermost thoughts like a spigot and all day long, you're like, hey, I did a thing. Hey, I did a thing. Hey, I think a thing. Then I think Threads is still going to be for you. Whereas if you're a video person or a picture person, then you're going to be going to one of the Instagrams. And if you just like to share and talk about ad nauseum, back to Facebook.
Yeah, for sure. So I don't know, as far as is it worth it for a business to jump on an account on Threads?
So what I would, now this is, again, it's the resident expert, but what I recommended back in the day when we still had things you don't know about, is I would say for longevity.
Yes.
Get you a page, get you a profile, do a thing. But don't market it. Don't try to get people to go there unless they're going to feed it. If you're not going to water and feed that
Right.
account, it's better just to say, hey, we're here and this is our website.
Yeah.
Or, hey, we're here. Go find us over in this other place.
Yeah.
So that if someone does have an affinity for a particular account, they can still find you, and then they can figure out how to really find you.
Exactly.
So I will probably, with that being said, probably get a Threads account next time I log in in 2052.
Sure.
But whenever I log in, they're like, hey, because they're going to say, hey, you need to do a thing. I'll be like, sure, sign me up.
Right.
Put a picture up, do a thing, and then we'll just see what happens. It is not, I do not have time for that.
Uh-huh.
I do not have the energy for that. There was a time when I had time and energy for that, and I did more on those types of things, but I don't anymore, so it'll probably wither and die, but I will go there so that if I ever decide, hey, man, I wish I would have gone here, I'm there.
Yeah.
So that would be my interpretation of your recommendation.
Right. And so what you were saying before about keeping it alive and fresh is incredibly important. Yes, you can have an account, but like if you're only posting once a week, it's not going to get much traction whatsoever. And it even the algorithm of each one of these platforms will look at how often you post, and it will push you down if you don't post very often, but it'll also push you down if you post too often. And so there's a
sweet spot, yeah.
Yeah. There's a little sweet spot in there, and it's not definitive. Like it's just a guessing game, and you just see what works. But that's what marketers are for. And another thing about keeping your content fresh would be that I see a lot of people who put their links to their social media on their website. When you go down to the contact page at the bottom and there's like, here, follow us here. If I go to Instagram and like you haven't posted anything since 2021, or if I go to your LinkedIn, the same thing, you know what I mean? Or I go to your Instagram. This one's my favorite, where you go there and this account is private. It's like that really hurts your image, and it damages you with SEO. You don't rank very well on Google because of it, and so like it's really bad. So whenever you're hiring a company like ours, let's say, hey, we want you to take care of social media. We already know there's so many different platforms out there. There are the big ones out there. I would say the main 5 now, with Threads being the talk of the town right now. New belle of the ball. And so normally we always recommend to businesses, get a Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Those are your basics. If it makes sense for you to get a Twitter, we may go there. If it makes sense for you to have a TikTok, then we'll go there. But other than that, so the more social platforms that there are, the more consideration companies that specialize in social media will have to, I don't want to say downgrade, but like we'll have to start charging by the account rather than saying, okay, here's your overall social media account. It's going to have to be a different pricing sheet for us because there are so many of them out there. And if you just adamantly have to have all these after we had a consultation with you and be like, hey, these are the ones you need to invest in, these are not, then the pricing and the model has to change for us.
Well, yeah, because they all take a different you can't. So back in the day, and I'm sure this still holds, you can't write a post and blast it to every type of platform out there, because that's going to downgrade you as well.
Yeah.
And each post has to be unique to that typical user, or people are going to avoid it. Like, you don't want to go to Twitter and get a link.
Yeah.
Facebook.
Yeah.
You'll be irritated. So all of that pushing they used to be able to do, where they push the post from one to the next. When that went to Twitter, it was just a link back to Facebook.
Yeah.
Well, that's going to get you no traction on
No.
So you have to be able to, I would definitely say, these are the top for a typical company. Yeah. We can water and feed two large enough, one small account. So Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. And if you want to add more, then, these are going to take, in order to make them useful, your setup charge is this. And if you want us to continue making the active things, have different, it's going to be an additional blah per month, additional whatever, for sure. And then, but your initial pricing could be 2 recommendations, the 2 big accounts and the 1 small one.
And if you want to get the largest return of investment, you're going to need to sit down and with the whoever you hired, and we're going to have to talk about, who it is that you're trying to go after. And then based on, because we deal with it all the time, social media on all the different accounts, all the different platforms. And so we'll be able to help narrow down how to get those people for you.
I just had a really fun.
Oh, Sorry. Yeah, I was gonna say one more thing. Another reason why pricing has to change, like what you said, is that you can't really post the same post across everything if it's got a link to the Facebook or something like that. But the same thing for marketing companies. Most of us are using a platform of some sort or software to where we can craft the post, we can schedule it in whether it's Hootsuite or we use HeroPost, and so there's a few others. Yeah. And so those aren't, whenever a new social media platform comes out, they aren't friendly with that yet because they don't have that relationship with that software or that code. And so we would specifically have to go to that platform, write out the tweet or whatever it is, this thread. We'll say we're going to Threads. We're going to have to go in there. We're going to have to log into your account. We're going to have to craft this thing, and we're going to have to send it off every single day because there is no scheduling yet.
Well, and that's similar to the scheduling apps because they don't want to spend their time investing money in their programmers to create those relationships. Exactly. So I got to give it some time.
Sure. What was I going to say? You had a fun story.
Didn't want a fun story. I had a fun idea. Fun idea. So, and this is probably already done because obviously marketing is not my thing. It's your thing. But if it's not already done, here's a good business opportunity. Okay. So there are people like I was when I first started. Yeah. And my business is growing now, so I'm able to hire people to do things sometimes. But when I first started out, I was doing all of it myself. So do you have, or could you create some type of like annual check-in, every 6-month check-in, where you look at what people are investing their time and energy into for their business and make recommendations for a fee? You have your initial consultation when you're going to build their platforms, but maybe someone just wants to make sure they're on track. Do you have something where people could be like, pay a fee to come to you every 6 months, or something where you can come in and say, okay, I see that your algorithm is sitting here, your Google is right there, here's what your ratings are, blah, blah, blah. You might want to tone back on the Twitter and push into this. Sure. There you go. $200. See you next quarter.
Absolutely. Yeah. So it's just a general online presence audit is what we call. And so looking at your SEO, so we have a software that looks over everything, and then we go in past it and make sure that everything is correct and like the other things that Google's looking for. So there's the website, and then socials. There is no one platform. There are several of them that advertise as being the one platform that pulls in from Facebook and Instagram and they can give you all the analytics, all that stuff, but they never work the way they're supposed to because those companies are constantly changing the code. And so,
well, if you're not a marketer and don't understand it, it's dumb for you.
It'll break the lake. Yeah. So I mean, there's some companies that try to advertise themselves as being the easy to understand and drag and drop type of, but it doesn't work. So we have to go into each account, pull those analytics directly from each one of those types of platforms, and then put them all together for one report. But yeah,
I would highly recommend any small business find a company or just call Ty and have that relationship, even if you can't afford or don't want to budget for, or whatever your reason is, to have someone monitoring that all the time, every day, and have someone doing that. Have a check-in because things change. Just like I mentioned earlier when I was talking about having written that marketing class, it's mostly irrelevant now that things change so quickly and you don't know if what you're doing is working. So if you're doing Twitter all of the time, but you've been linking or doing weird things and people don't love you on Twitter, then maybe you're wasting your time there. And you need to look at what your time is worth and figure out where your style of posting fits best with what's out there. And sometimes when there's new things that come up, rather than trying to figure that out yourself, check in with your marketing partner who maybe you're, like I said, maybe you're not going to have them monitor your website every day of the week. Sure. But you can go to someone like you who can help you stay on track.
Right.
Yeah. So if you're budgeting on something like that and doing most of it yourself, at least make sure you check in to make sure that you are doing the right thing.
Right. Yeah, for sure. I highly recommend that. I mean, not a lot of people do it, but I mean, definitely, yeah.
Well, I'm glad I mentioned it. Another thing I wanted to mention that was you also deal with, but we don't talk about a lot, is security. If you go get, let's say, a Threads account, they're going to ask you to put your password in and do all the things. And if you, let's say you're like 90% of the population and use that same password for your bank, and Threads gets hacked, and you're never there because you didn't really want to do it.
Right.
That's Threads. Let's say, Bob's X Twitter, whatever, some other account. So you go in there and you make this account, and then you're like, I'm not spending my time here, I'm letting it go. And that platform gets hacked. Then they have your username, which you probably use other places. They have your whatever information you fill out about your business or your person. They have whatever password that you used for whatever reason. If it's something secure, great. If it's not, then they know that. And there's a lot deeper. So if you spend, let's say you spend 6 months on it and you're like, yeah, this isn't for me. What did you interact with? Did you buy anything online through that? What did you do? That information is now stored within that account. And if you're not keeping that secure because you've decided, I don't want to mess with this, then you're opening yourself up to a security risk.
Yes.
Don't do that.
Don't do it. Yeah. Yeah, I don't deal with IT, so you have to talk to another expert about that. So,
I mean, we do that part of it. So you do the security recommendations, but that's one of the things that people don't realize is that just because you're not active doesn't mean you're not vulnerable. So when I do try to get into these different places, these different platforms, and see if they're going to work for you, if you're going to do it by yourself, or even if you hire someone to set it up, you're still going to have that interaction with it. Make sure that you keep your password safe, and if you decide to stop using it, make sure that if you're going to keep it active, make it uber secure, make it some kind of 27-digit long password that only a supercomputer can hack in a reasonable time, and make sure that you disconnect your credit card and disconnect your bank and disconnect other accounts that you may be doing shopping on. Don't let it just sit out there and be about.
Yeah, no, for sure. There needs to be like you just give me an idea. What is it? It used to be called Bill Pay. I think now it's Rocket Money or.
Those both sound familiar.
So it was a service you paid like $5 to $15 a month, I think it was. But anyways, it would monitor it across all these different everything that you're paying for. It would look at your bank account, blah blah blah, and then like you would see you've been paying for Hulu, right? So you've been paying for Hulu, but you haven't watched it in months. You know what I mean?
I never used it, but I just saw that. I thought that's interesting.
And it would cancel that for you. Or let you know, or let you know that you haven't, or you're getting this recurring bill every month. It's just draining your account that you didn't really know about.
And you don't really pay attention because you're busy, and it's only $5 a month.
Right.
You're like, I'll get to that, and then pretty soon you're $300 in, and you could have bought a new pair of shoes.
Be nice if there was something like that could look over like all the different social media type of things that you could sign in and have accounts for, and you haven't used it for a while, and it lets you know, hey, you should. If you're not going to use this, why don't you go ahead and disconnect all your personal information?
American business decisions.
Is it?
It's called. You go through and you do check out. You figure out where everyone is all right. You double check their passwords, make sure they're all secure. You make sure that they're still using their stuff properly and for a reasonable fee, and then you can feel like you're safe in the world.
There you go.
Call Ty.
Anything else we would add to this one? Did it make you feel like you need to jump on social media again?
It does not. I need to go do it. I do this. No, I thought it was really good. I really liked how we were unpacking a little bit about something that's current and tied it into business, and then explained it a little bit, and then give people some answers about what they can do if they just don't want to mess with it.
Yeah.
Because you can't not mess with it. You could personally not.
Yeah.
But as a business, you have to take in consideration that these things are happening.
Yeah, it's definitely a mistake if you don't try to at least experiment with it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And like you said, you may not want to take your time to do that. If you're an attorney, you're like, man, do I need to do this? Consult with an expert. Like, if I'm going to go sue someone, I don't just consult the Google. Call an attorney. If you're going to engage in the socials, call an expert. Call a media marketing expert. Seriously.
For sure. No.
People should look at it that way. Is that not just going? Marketing isn't just put my stuff on paper and publish it. Marketing is about the health of your business. It's another form of health. Probably, I don't know, 40 years, 50 years ago, there was these health markers, and they would say, we look at your blood pressure. There were certain health markers. Well, this technology has changed, and we've learned more in science. Those health markers, the basics are we still care about your blood pressure and things like that. But we've included things like checking your vitamin D, because all of the UV protection and all the different types of first world things that we do that protect us from UV, we're now low on vitamin D. But we weren't looking for that 10 years ago. We were looking for that 20 years ago. So same thing with social media marketing, same thing with anything else. You need to check in with an expert to make sure that you're not hemorrhaging and don't know about it.
Yeah, things change out of nowhere.
Twitter or Google Spaces or whatever, or MySpace might be a cancer. You need to get that removed and have it checked out.
It's funny about that. It's like I look up, so I do research on people I'm going to meet with. Like if I got an upcoming meeting with somebody, I will do the background research, which is just be Googling them or putting their name and the city they're in, and like just try to see what I can find through either photos or whatever. But
mistakes that you make in college.
it's so yes, so funny. But like, it's a lot of people, their old MySpace page will still come up. Yes. And like, it'll be in photos. Like when you go to click the photo, the link to the page, it'll say this page has been taken down, but your profile photo is still up there. And so it's something to be aware of.
Yeah, every once in a while, go yourself. But, be prepared.
Yes, I do. So I'll look at my own SEO of Ty King. When somebody looks up Ty King Little Rock or Ty King Arkansas, I try to, or like if I see that like what links are coming up to the top, and I want more of the really great big ones on top. You know what I mean? So it's like, oh, well, that's a new goal then. I need to go do this so that they'll put a link or an article on whatever, this magazine's website or this news over here or another website, whatever it is.
Like, oh, that's a terrible photo. We need to find a way to push that one down. Start posting new photos. Yeah.
And there's actually services that you can hire that do that they'll.
But you can also do a little time to do it yourself. At least go check it out. And then if you need help, be like, hey, Ty, there's this picture of me back in 1982 when I was fat.
Yeah.
We need to undo that.
Yeah.
What was it? That 82. Okay. It was like more like 92. But yeah.
All right. I was
definitely 2000.
I wasn't even born yet. So that's it.
So the moral of the story is keep your business healthy.
Yes, keep your business. That's the moral of the story. All right. So until next time, you want to say bye?
Bye.
And keep your business healthy.